Hey guys, what's up? New power supply. Why, you might think? Well, it's because my computer's still having some issues after I installed my new video card. It didn't fix Fallout, and I decided to run GTA 5 and Dragon Age, and during the loading of both games, my PC still shut down. So, it's not the video card that's the problem. It's probably something else. And I'm thinking it's gonna be this. At least I hope so, because otherwise we're gonna have another problem. Now let's see what we got in the box. Now, as the name suggests, it is a 860 watt power supply. Got pretty good ratings on the internet, and that's why I chose it, because I don't want to have a video card crap out on me or anything else just because the power supply decided to die, just like I'm suspecting my old one did. See how smart people are when they open up boxes and they can't make it work. Alright, so manual, which I'm probably going to be needing, warranty guide, power supply cable, zip ties. Little Corsair baggie with a bunch of wires, which this one is probably going to go to the motherboard right here. Yep. And last but not least, and look how it's packaged. That's pretty good packaging right there. The actual power supply. It's a pretty nice unit, heavy. And heavy, usually in my book, means that it's going to be good. So here it is. Looks pretty nice. Not too flashy, and I like that. Alright, so let's see if I can open up my case and get rid of the old one. Now here she is, completely unplugged. Now what do you need to replace your power supply? Now number one, of course, a Phillips head. That makes things a whole lot easier. And of course, a regular flathead would help as well if you have any of those tabs. Other thing, a pair of scissors. Now there's probably going to be some wires that are zip tied together that you're going to have to undo. So now the first thing that you're going to have to do is, of course, get rid of the side panels, otherwise you can't get to the cables. Now this one is quite easy. Just take it off like that. And of course, I personally have to deal with this massive fan, which unplugs quite easily. And then you also have to do it on the other side. Now the reason why you have to do the other side as well is going to be quite easy once I pull it off. You'll see it, because all the cables are pretty much routed through there. And this is what I was talking about when it came down to the zip ties. So here is my previous power supply, a Toughpower Gold 750 watts that I think gave up the ghost. It's no longer reliable. Now it is semi-modular, which pretty much means that this unplugs quite easily. But over here you have an entire bundle of cables that does not unplug from the unit itself. Now a power supply could be in a different location, like either on the top or the bottom. In my case it's the bottom. They're usually pretty much fastened in the same way with a set of screws out the back. So I'm going to use this over here, my Phillips head, to undo those. There we go. Now the power supply is loose and I should be able to pull it free. Now the power supply is indeed loose, so now I can just take it out. You see a bunch of dust has accumulated over here now, so this is a good time to get rid of most of that. And you should be able to pull it out free now without much issue. Now here is the brand new power supply. Now as you can see, it is fully modular. Now the one thing that you definitely want to pay attention to is all of this. It tells you exactly where all these pins are going. And yes, it's probably possible to jam some of those pins in here, which you don't want to do because there's not going to be enough voltage to run a video card up here. It's all down here. So we're going to be working on that. This one actually has an extra thing that I haven't had on my other power supplies ever, which is the fan control. Now hybrid probably means that it'll not run under low load and then spin up as soon as it needs some cooling. And if you do normal, it'll probably run all the way. Now the back end over here, it actually has a warning sticker on it. It says silent operation at low to moderate loads. In this mode, the fan will not spin. So don't be worried if it doesn't spin up. It probably won't as soon as I boot it up. So now it's time to install this into my PC. Now cables wise, you're going to need the following things if you have a more recent computer. First is the 24-pin connector for your motherboard. And second, your CPU. And I like how they actually put that on the cables. So it's really easy to figure out what's what. Now, the next one is the graphic processor one, but you really have to take a quick look at that because there's two different ones. One is the 4-pin, which is this one, which you will be able to recognize if you look at this over here. It's missing just one single pin over here. The other one, which is the 6-pin, misses both. So this is the one you want to put in your 6-pin, and this is the one you want to put in your 8-pin. Then you have your hard drive cables right here, and of course your CD-ROM drive. And these cables are pretty much the old school cables that I'm used to, because this is my first modular, full modular power supply. This is for your fans, because they still use the old school ones. Now the first cable I'm going to be installing is the cable for the motherboard. Now this one is plenty stiff compared to the cable that came out of my old power supply. So I really wonder if I'm going to be able to route it via the back, but I'm going to at least give it a shot. It looks like it's plenty tight. The power supply is probably going to about hit to about here. So I should be able to plug it right in. That's one. Now the second cable I'm going to be installing is this here CPU cable, which hopefully I'll be able to route the same way as the other one, because again this cable is pretty stiff. There we go, that's snug. Now this is the third cable that I'll be installing, which is for the CD-ROM drive and the hard drive. But this one is unfortunately not long enough. It's not going to make it quite to the hard drive. Luckily, there are two provided by Corsair, so we're not going to have any issues with that. Just to illustrate the issue, here is that cable. Here is my hard drive, and it just simply will not reach. So this is the cable for the hard drive that I'll be using. This plugs in like so, and this is access cable that, you know, we're just gonna put over here for now. And that goes in here, so it can go to the power supply. Now I'll be placing the power supply into the PC. Now of course it's going to take some fiddling to get everything to line up just right with the screw holes, which it looks like we are. Now for me the fan is actually on the bottom, so it's going to be sucking in the cooler outside of the case air and then expelling it through here. It's actually also going to help me with the cable management on the other side, because it actually raises those connection points, which is going to help with the CPU one for sure. Now we're going to put the screws in the power supply. Now the power supply is mounted in the PC. Now at this point in time, I just look at the cables one more time to make sure that I'm plugging it in the right slots. This one's the CPU, this one's the motherboard, and this is for the hard drive and the CD-ROM drive. Now the first one I'm going to be connecting is the one for the motherboard, which is this one. And this top one is going to be kind of a hassle. It's like I said, these cables are plenty stiff. Here we go. The second one I'm going to do is the CPU, which is down here. Now that one's connected. And I'm going to have more than enough cable to be able to route it behind my video card, I think. Then it's the time for the hard drive and the CD-ROM drive, which go in the peripheral ones. And now I'm going to go ahead and wire the fans up in the back. Now the reason why I haven't done that previously is because I don't want too many cables going on. That just makes things confusing. I just wanted to get the big ones out of the way first. Now I took the liberty to daisy chain the front fans and the rear fans together. Now it used to be like this on one cable. It's probably going to be just fine like that, but for personal preference I'm going to be using two individual cables because I have the connections at the power supply to do that and the cables for it as well. That's one. And that's two. Now the next thing is going to be the tricky part, getting the monster of a graphics card back in while being able to move that cable. Now there is a little slot that I could possibly use as a hook, but bear with me because this is probably going to take some finagling. Well, that actually went better than expected. Of course, I'm going to put the screws back in. And then that last one. Now it's time to put the power to the graphics card. Now make sure that the pin that I just showed you goes into the power supply and it goes into the PCIe or 4+4 CPU. You do not want to put it anywhere else because it will not have the power to run the card. Oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't even notice that. There's a little lip right here so you can keep it together. Don't work too well though. There we go, that's one. Now that leaves us with the other one. As you can see, 6 gold, 2 no. This is the side again that goes into the power supply, and the other side will go into the video card. This is harder than it looks because I have to keep my head away from the camera, otherwise you can't see anything. Okay, here we go. There it is. It's all plugged up. Now, of course, I forget these, which are the fans. They're going to be going into the peripheral slot on the power supply. Now, this is the moment we all wait for, right? To see if the fruits of your labor pay off. Here we go. Did I somehow unplug that? There we go. This is good. I pre-started Steam, so that should pop right up. Library, play. Well, we got that. That's always how far I get, you know. I deleted all my saves. Now, this is the test. Please. Okay. Skip that. All right.
War never changes.
You're gonna knock
No, it doesn't.
tonight, hon.
You think?
Yes!
Stop hogging the mirror.
All right, well, it looks like that indeed my power supply was the culprit. I'm gonna change my face, I'm gonna play, I'm gonna give you updates down the line, see if I'm having any more issues, because this might just be luck. I hope it isn't, because I don't really want to eat my words. I had to find some stuff on Google to make sure that everything was plugged in the right way. I would suggest you do the same. Do not follow everything to a T that I just did, because if you do that and you flip something, nah, you want to take your time. Took me about 2 hours, but I was also making this video, so it probably would take you an hour to change it out, if that. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and take care.